Good afternoon, everyone. This is Pradeep, Ambassador of Change from GETI, the Global Education and Training Institute from Lucknow. And right now, you're on a disruptive education platform provided to us by our mentor, Dr. Sunita Gandhi. And on this platform, we have met with and interacted with more than 1,600 educators from India and all over the world. And this afternoon, we have for you Mr. Irshad Ahmad Wani. He's a teacher from GHSS Khag, Budgam in Jammu and Kashmir. And he has a one-year diploma in computer application. He's an MA in English and history and Islamic studies, and he's an MA. He has an experience of 18 years, and he has worked as the district resource person from ECCE and the Peace Education, E-Content Creation, RPNEP 2020. Presently, as we have mentioned, he is teaching in Gurgaon as an English teacher. He will be speaking to us today on joyful learning. So thank you, sir, for being with us, and over to you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. It is, as I have been introduced, Irshad Ahmad here from Budgam, J&K. And it is my pleasure to be here with GETI and talk on a topic that is very important in present circumstances. As for your information, let me tell you that there is a specific reason for me to choose this topic at this very junction. In our UT, I can say a month ago or few weeks ago, there were some activity-based learning approaches and videos of the same from few training centers were uploaded on social media. And in those videos, resource persons were trying to make their teachers, primary school or elementary school teachers, to learn about how to go for joyful learning methodology and how to use a burden-free pedagogy. But when those videos were circulated on social media, public took it as something wrong, because public does not know what these videos are actually meant for. The RPs in the program were trolled for this those very presentations. They were, I can say, taunted. They were told that they are doing something that is immoral. But public does not know that actually what these RPs or what these teachers were trying to do. They were trying to imbibe joyful teaching learning methods, so that in their classrooms, in their respective classrooms, they would go for joyful learning methodology. What this joyful learning actually is, and in, as I have told you, that what is the actual background for choosing this very topic at this very junction, I would like to go for it briefly in this very presentation. Next slide, please. Yes, as you can say, joyful learning means positive intellectual and emotional state of learners. When our learners are positively, emotionally, intellectually involved, we can say they are having joyful learning. What happens in this very learning approach? This state or experience is achieved when an individual or a group is deriving pleasure and a sense of satisfaction from the process of learning. So it is evident that in joyful learning, the learner or the child or any person who is in the process of learning, when he is happy, when he is joyful, he has a sense of pleasure. And when there is sense of pleasure, he is satisfied. And when a person is satisfied, there is a low risk for better learning. as joyful learning is the mode of learning in which learners are given opportunities to experience emotions of surprise and delightful ways. Learners are being taught in a way that is very delightful, that makes them emotionally involved, that makes them uh, experience surprise, nurture curiosity. When our children, our students in primary classes experience surprise, experience curiosity, experience delightful ways, they are emotionally involved in the learning process. And when this happens, we can easily transfer to them meaningful content. So, for transferring, for teaching, for involving our students, we need to have them positively involved in the learning process, and this can be achieved when they are happy, when they are delighted, when they experience surprise, when they experience something new, something activity based, something curiosity based. So for this very purpose, teachers need to go for such methods of teaching which will involve all these things delightful ways. So what will happen when we go for delightful ways, when we go for joyful learning, when we go for activity based learning, when we go for involving our students in something that is new for them, in something that involves them, in something that keeps them engaged, so they will feel a sense of achievement. It is obvious when you ask your thought to go for any task, and when they come up with results, when they come up with their responses, so giving them a sense of achievement will give them joy. So when it is joy, they will learn new things. So when a joyful child, when a child is joyful, he will create something new on his own, because he will feel encouraged, he will feel acknowledged, he will feel endorsed. Such an approach will let him go for creating something new. And besides that, when we have delightful ways of teaching, when we have burden free approach of teaching, we will see that our children, our students will understand the concepts clearly, because in this very approach they are mentally involved. We are not just transferring our content and making them remember that, making them recall that. It is just their involvement, their engagement. So when we have joyful means, next thing that will happen, they will do every task independently. That means they will try to do the things on their own. They will try to go for their own experiments. They will go for exploring their surroundings, their environment, and in that very process it will be learning, links learning to the real life situations. Yes, when we have joyful learning, we are actually engaging children in real life situations, but our motive behind that very thing is, our motive behind involving children is to link them with to have them real understanding, real learning. Yes, if a student is happy, if a child is happy, he will go for doing different kinds of activities himself. So he will play games, he will sing, he will dance, he will go for such kind of activities. Next, what are the different methods of joyful learning? How a teacher, how a person who is involved in teaching, especially at elementary or primary level, what methods should he go for so that uh, a, an environment of joyful learning is created in his classroom? Okay, first of all, the first method that we will talk about, that is art integrated learning. When we actually, if we see, the first language of a child is art. First language of a child is art, because you will see when a child feels hunger, he makes noise. When he wakes up from the sleep, he makes noise. When we keep something in his hands, in her hands, in front of him. He tries to play with these things. Actually, he is trying to create something. When he is making noise, that means he is doing something artful. He knows that when he will weep, somebody will come and pick him up. So this is an art. Making noise, making sound, this is an art. So first language in which our child talks, in which our child conversates, that is art. And art, we have different kinds of art activities. When we involve our children, our students in art integrated learning, they automatically develop different kinds of, we can say, competencies. First of all, they get involved in learning. They see that they are doing something, they are creating something. And besides that, their eye hand coordination will get developed. In addition to that, their psychomotor coordination will get developed. So in art integrated learning, we involve our children, students in different kinds of art activities. And when this is done, they feel that they are themselves doing something, they are themselves creating something, they are themselves involved in something. So in addition to that first method, that is art integrated learning, we have activity based learning. This very approach has been is in use for a long time, we can say. But actually in our classrooms, in our typical classrooms, we see that just teachers transfer the content to the students and make them just memorize these very things, those very things, or write on their notebooks. Regarding activity based learning, we should note that in activity based learning, we can on one side, on one hand, go for teaching the students, and on the other hand, involving students in different kinds of activities. We can have assessment of the learning. That will be assessment as learning also, and that will be assessment for learning also. So activity based learning, in this very approach, children are involved in different kinds of activities, and with the intention to let them learn different concepts. Next thing is fun games and studies. And actually this very thing is what triggered me to choose this very topic for my presentation. When we do some fun activity, play with our children in our classrooms, we are being told that this is something unique, this is something surprising. But actually we can experience that our children become joyful that very time. They enjoy it, they express their pleasure in doing these very things. When we involve them in fun activities, naturally our motive is uh, having some learning. So in that very thing, we can go for thematic approach, involving our students in different kinds of fun activities. It can be dancing, it can be singing, it can be moving, it can be jumping, it can be anything like that in which a child feels joy. Next is support integrated learning. Yes, we have kept supports just for entertainment. I can believe that we can teach social science through supports. We can teach mathematics through supports. But we have to take this very thing into consideration, that supports can be an integrated learning approach. Through supports, we can teach different kinds of concepts, different kinds of subjects. Next thing is inquiry based learning. Let our children ask, let our children inquire, let our children let them discover new things, let them ask for new things, let them in the field, and let them bring different kinds of things, so that we have a that very approach in which they will get themselves involved. They will feel that they are learning something, they are enjoying something. Next is collaborative learning. We can have group activities, we can have peer activities, we can have different kinds of collaborative activities involving different types kinds of our learning level children. And in that very approach, we will see that they will have different kinds of competencies. They will have group activity. They will collaborate with each other. They will cooperate with each other. They will learn new things. Next is assessment as learning. We take assessment only for learning, assessment rather of learning. But while doing assessment, we can ensure that in the process of assessment, our children learn new things. Although on one side that will be an assessment, but on the other side we will see that they are learning new things. Learning by doing it is, as you know, that we can involve them in different kinds of activities, so that they will on one side do something, but on the other side they will, yes, they will learn new things. All these teaching learning approaches make a classroom joyful. You can see from art integrated learning approach to learning by doing approach. You can see when we go for these very approaches, we will see that our classrooms will become joyful. We get joy when we achieve something after doing or experiencing it ourselves, because joy is achieved when we achieve something, when we get something, when we do something ourselves. This was all about methods of joyful learning. So what happens in joyful learning? Which thing is achieved when we go for joyful learning? First of all, improved motivation. When we go for joyful learning, our students are motivated to learn. They feel curious to go for learning. Next thing is engaged learners. In art integrated, in playway method, in different kinds of fun activities, you will see even the dull students takes part. You will say even the those students who have low IQ, they even take part. So they, when they feel engaged, they will definitely learn new things. Next is authentic learning. In fun activities, in learning by doing, we will let them learn the concept, that they will see actually this is from real life situations. This is not something abstract. This is not something in heaven. They will experience the things themselves naturally, and this will be authentic learning. And authentic learning is when you have real life situations. In real life situations, you relate whatever you have learned with real life situations. We call that authentic learning. Excuse me. Okay. Encourage autonomy and control. Yes, we have to let our students feel autonomous. They should do things on their own. They should feel that we have been let free. And in that very process, we should have control. It is not absolute autonomy. This is controlled autonomy. In controlled autonomy, you have an objective, and you let your children free, but with an objective, but with a motive. And when you have motive, when you have objective, and that very autonomy, we can say that that is called controlled autonomy. What can be your motive? Why do you keep control? Yes, because you have a motive that you are going to let your students learn a particular thing, particular concept, particular topic through a particular activity. Although they might not be knowing that we are learning, but you have an intention that you are making them learn new things through this autonomy. Next thing that is very important, and it is perspective change. You might have seen that when we see at lower primary, pre-primary level, our students feel shy, feel I can say they are hesitant to come to school, because the environment for them at home is friendly, that is lovable for them. But when their environment all of a sudden changes, they are shifted to school. Yes, at school they feel strange, they feel something new. But through motivated learning, through joyful learning, through burden free pedagogy, with the passage of time, you will let them see, you will let them change their perspective. perspective, they will feel yes, it is very joy, it is very happy environment at our school. We do different kinds of activities, and that very change in their perspective, we can say this is because of joyful learning. They will definitely first, at the first very instant, they walk to home, run to home, walk to school. But when there is perspective change, they run to school, walk to home. Okay, what does the science say about this very approach of joyful learning? Yes, research conducted on brain validates that the fact when element of fun is missing from the learning, the element of actual learning taking place also remains absent. Absolutely correct. We can say that when element of fun is lacking, element of actual learning does not take place. Actual learning is not taking place. Next thing, in a study conducted by education theorist Krashen 1982, it was proposed that when learning is associated with strong positive emotions, retention of learning by students takes place. That means when there are strong positive emotions. What are strong positive emotions, by the way? It is joy, it is happiness, it is encouragement, it is acknowledgement. All these very emotions, when we have in our children, even in our students, retention of learning takes place. They will retain their concepts for a long time. It will be a permanent learning, not a temporary learning. Clinical evidence of cognitive psychology studies show that boredom, stress, confusion, anxiety, low levels of motivation hinder learning. Absolutely right. When we see our students are stressed, they are in chaos and confusion, they are in anxiety, we can hardly expect them to learn our concept, to be good learners, to be active in our classrooms. Because when they are under stress, when they are under confusion, when they are under threat, how can you expect them to be good learners? So for making them good learners, you have to create a good level of joy in them. Okay, a learner's comfort level has a measurable impact on process through which information is transmitted and stored in the brain. Different kinds of neurotransmitters are released when a person is happy. When a person is happy, and different kinds of neurotransmitters, they make environment friendly, mental makeup friendly for learning new things, for learning higher order things. Okay, what is the impact of joy on overall learning? Shall we always go for joyful learning? What is the impact? An important component that is joy of true learning encompass collaboration, connection, sharing, pride. These all very things are involved in, yes, involved in joyful learning. You will see collaboration between the students, connect, they will feel connected with each other, they will share things with each other, they will feel pride on achieving different things. Okay, joyful learning means bringing element of happiness and joy while learning. This enables learner and teachers to experience teaching, learning in a stress-free environment, and that is very important. Whether it is lower level, primary, elementary, secondary, higher secondary, whatever level it is, for a classroom to be effective classroom, for a teacher to be effective teacher, he needs to have a citrus free environment, I can say. And for a citrus free environment, sometimes you have to go for such kinds of things, such kinds of activities which will let you have your classroom citrus free. Although your students, your thought may come up to your classroom with different kinds of tensions, different kinds of problems, but it is you who are responsible for bringing them to the level that they will feel motivated, they will feel engaged, they will feel joy, they will feel happy, and they will feel stress free. In this very situation, only then you can expect that they will learn new things, they will go for experiencing new things, they will explore new things. So in this context, okay, although this is last slide, you might have seen that. Joyful learning ultimately revolves one thing, that stress free environment, an environment in which, yes, a child feels joy, feels happy, feels engaged, feels motivated. We can expect higher order levels of learning. We can expect that he excels in his learning and develops different kinds of competencies. So in this context, as I have already told you, that choosing this very topic for conversation for my presentation is that in recent days there was some trolling on this very issue, when we saw few teachers in their classrooms making funny things with their children, just joking with their children, dancing and singing with their children, making body gestures with their children. They were being trolled, they were being attacked, they were being, uh, I can say, they were being mm, uh, subjected to such kind of torture that was very bad, that was not good, that made them emotionally hurt. So at the end, we can say that such kind of things, although public does not know, such kind of things are need of the hour, because our environment is not free of stress. We need to create such an environment that is friendly, that is stress free, that is congenial for teaching learning process. And that is all on my side for today. Thanking you all. Pradeep sir.
Thank you, Mr. Irshad Ahmad Wani, on that excellent talk on joyful learning. We learned a lot about using hands-on education, basically, and on the importance of questioning as a learning
Okay.
tool.
Yes.
So both of these are of great importance. And yes, if we can include all this, it will certainly be joyful learning. I've actually seen it working in the class and how the children enjoy it. And not only are they enjoying it, they are also learning it. So good
Okay.
afternoon,
Thank you, sir.
everybody, and goodbye, and see you again very soon. Thank you, Mr. Irshad Ahmad Wani, for that excellent talk on joyful learning. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Thank you.